And may I request Ms. Monica Yadav, the founder and CEO of MyFoodXpert MFX. Heartiest welcome to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Monica. I'm founder and CEO of MyFoodXpert. Our company deals with consulting services for the product development and setting up a food manufacturing industries. And also we do the patent and also like research oriented products. And currently we are serving almost 6 countries as a consulting services. And also we help in regulatory compliances for food, domestic as well as international. And our main focus of the company is there are so many people who want to come up in food manufacturing industries. But people, they don't know how to start with the manufacturing industry in terms of budget or in which product to select and how to store, how to pack it, and what are the legal compliances for food. All these gaps can be filled by MyFoodXpert. So more detail we can come in the panel discussion. So I'm signing off. Thank you. From Monica, MyFoodXpert. I would like to ask question to audience. What is our first basic need? First basic need. In schooling, I think what we learn 3 important basic things. Yeah. First is food. Yeah. So, how many of you are seeing your food wastage nearby and in villages, cities, metros, anywhere? I'm seeing since 13 years, since I started my education and bachelor's in food technology. So, I think only 2? Everyone? So, everybody. Why this is happening? Why we are wasting our food? Can anybody?
Because everything are quantitative, food will get affected, and then whenever there is gathering, people for 200 people instead of 100.
Okay. Okay. So that is about the cooked food. What about the produce? What is the major crops that we are producing in AP? AP, Andhra Pradesh? Somebody louder, please. Okay. And refresh vegetables, fruits. Sleepy? Audience, you're sleepy? Be louder, please. Mango, tomatoes. Yes. Okay. So here, MyFoodXpert, basically, as I explained before, we are dealing with complete food manufacturing setups and some technology which is related to preserving the food and how to pack and regulatory compliance. So just now MD Sidfarm was telling, the packed milk doesn't mean that it contains lot of preservatives, right? So here we have some traditional technologies already. So this food technology is not a new subject, it is already an old subject for Navy or Army or for people who are flying in rockets and all. So here, I just want to share one of my experience. When I was studying the food technology subject, I was doing an internship in Srini Food Park, which is at, Mogli village in Chittor. So there I found like so much of tomato is being waste there. Due to the production capacity of the plant is just, I think that time, 10, 12 years ago, it is somewhere 60 to 70 tons per day. And then rest of the raw material, like tomatoes, whatever they are producing, is just being wasted. So it is something like to preserve or to save food, it is everybody's responsibility. And I put a panel to keep these points in mind. But we need so many incubation centers for training for farmers, and we need for simple technology that they can pack their food and they know how can they preserve food. The very much important is pre-harvest and post-harvest whenever they produce their fresh perishables. And then, for example, if for instance I take a tomato, tomato can be preserved or store or do a lot of technologies. Like, you can take tomato to make a puree for ketchups and all the basic product, and for curry base for other restaurants, they use tomato puree and the pulp, whatever they produce. And the same aseptic pulp can be stored for 2 years. And then the same pulp can be export for different countries. And the same tomato can be freeze dried and make a powder. And same tomato can be make into the extraction of lycopene, which can be used in nutraceuticals. It is all about to get educate what we can do with our food. And so there are so many technologies, and we can also introduce new technologies for different foods. And all the existing technologies, what I feel is there are only few companies, they are doing this kind of, like packing aseptic pulp for tomatoes or mangoes. I just recommend to introduce more industries, and also introduce more food parks where one-stop solution that they get all their license subsidies and wherever near. If it is like there is anyway, our government is doing green operations for TOP, that is tomato, onion and potatoes. How many of you know that green operations that is being done in central government? So I just conclude in few lines that you should, we all should focus on preserving our food. And and this preserving of food, again I come back, it should be get planned completely. How much domestic use and how much we are exporting and how much we are converting as a finished good. And rest, at least we can plan, like instead of producing more mangoes or more tomatoes or more onions, and when it comes off season, then again suddenly your tomato goes 100 rupees or 150 kg, and at seasons, that time in 10 years ago or 12 years ago, the farmer is completely, he has come and he was just requesting the industry, in Telugu he was telling, sir, ఎంత వచ్చినా ఇవ్వండి నేను ట్రక్ టమాటోస్ మీకు ఇచ్చి వెళ్తాను. దట్ ఈస్ అ సిచ్యువేషన్. దెన్ ఐ ఫెల్ట్ ఓకే, బికాస్ ఆఫ్ lack of production capacity that in the company we are lagging in preserving our all the food materials. And I think I'm done with the discussion. So any questions?
So I have a small question. Ma'am, how do we balance between, eating fresh vegetables versus eating packaged foods? Because you told about preserving tomatoes in the form of purees. They come with anti-caking or emulsifiers or preservative agents, which can also have a lot of side effects in terms of lifestyle diseases. So how do we balance eating fresh versus, I know it's important to have processed foods to, cater to the growing population, but how do we bring about a balance?
Yes, I want to answer your question. So see, here I'm talking about the direct process. You are talking about the additives added the processed food. I'm discussing about the exact tomato. If I do the freeze dried, you will be having a whole tomato. You will be removing the moisture from it. The technology itself is a preservation method. And if I go with the pulp, aseptic, the technology itself is a preservation method. We are not adding any other additives or preservatives in your process. And spray dried,
Is it like blast freezing it?
you have, that is what, we have thermal and non-thermal technologies for every food. So I'm discussing only about the technology which that has he discussed, like the packed food doesn't mean like that it's adding some preservative in it. The technology itself acts as a preservation.
Okay.
We preserve our pickle, we preserve our jams.
So we don't need any additives.
Sugar is a preservative, salt is a preservative.
That's
a
right.
naturally.
That's right. Okay, natural preservatives.
Yes.
Thank you.